I'll wait till their audio joins and then we'll start. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here for our every other Friday Eastside Rap meeting. It's good to be with you all, especially in this busy season. So I appreciate you all making time. We're here to discuss impacts related to homelessness on the east side of Santa Barbara. And so we are recording this meeting just for those who can't be with us today on the Zoom. I did want to share, we're hoping to host another in-person East Side Rap meeting in February. A few of you all have been helping to plan this. And so we want to find a time that's works well for everyone. I got a quick poll from Barbara about the schedule for some of our city leadership, but I'd love for the rest of you to just take 2 minutes to fill this out really briefly. Can I ask you all to do that right now, just so I get your responses before we all forget with the weekend and holiday craziness? I can just pause the meeting for just a second. All right, thanks everybody. You can keep filling that out if you need to. But really, the purpose of doing an in-person meeting at an evening is so that we can try and capture some of the people who don't have the time to come to these meetings on a Friday morning. So we wanted to have another space for that. And it's just nice sometimes for us to actually be physically in each other's presence, so we can kind of work through some of these issues together. So appreciate you all for helping fill that out. All right, so just a couple general announcements. I did want to share we had a really good presentation on Monday at our kind of all-call meeting, a few presentations, but one was about the new Care Courts program that the County Department of Behavioral Wellness has just brought online. This is a new resource through the state of California, specifically for those with a schizophrenia diagnosis. And it offers them it's a voluntary chance to get some new support through the court system. And so it is a way that we can hopefully give some mental health support to some of our unhoused neighbors. And it also is connected with some of the Dignity Moves housing. So it is a way for people to actually physically move out of homelessness as well. So if you haven't seen that, I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel and watch that recording. It's just a really helpful explainer on that, and then some of the other behavioral health legislation that's come down through the state of California. We also just heard some general presentations about countywide encampment responses in like the riverbeds and vehicular encampments, as well as just a general update about this whole South County collaborative that we're a part of. So encourage you to check that out. A few upcoming events to be aware of. So the Longest Night Memorial will be on December 21st. I'll talk about that in a second. I wanted to note we will not have an Eastside Rap meeting on the Friday after Christmas, because I know the city will be closed and many of our service providers, and I'm sure many residents as well, will be out on vacation. But of course, you can still contact us if there are issues related to homelessness. I know Barbara is available to respond, and I'm also here. You can still make reports through SB Connect. So please do feel free to give us a call if anything should arise during that holiday week. But we will not have a regular meeting. Our next meeting will be January 10th. And then the point in time count I'll talk about in just a second. So just want to start with the longest night. So this is an annual memorial that we have for everyone who passed away unhoused in the last year. It's something that's done throughout the country, and our memorial happens at the Santa Barbara County Courthouse. It's always on literally the longest night of the year, the winter solstice. And it's a little bit of an interfaith vigil, and then there's also a reading of the names of those individuals who passed away. So I encourage you, if you haven't been before, it is just a really powerful event and reminds us why this work is so important. So I encourage you to come out if you're able. The point in time count, I mentioned this. So this is really important for our county. Every county throughout the US is required by the federal government to do this count of everyone who's experiencing homelessness. And so our next count will be on January 22nd at 5:30 in the morning. We send out volunteers to every census tract in the entire county and try and count how many people are experiencing homelessness in that tract. The reason we do it so early in the morning is because we want to make sure we count people before they get up and start moving around for the day, because that just makes it easier to double count them if they've already moved. But we do need hundreds of volunteers across the county. So would really encourage you, A, to sign up to volunteer. There will be a Zoom training. It's a really simple thing to volunteer for. And even beyond that, if you're willing to help spread the word to others, that would be amazing. So help us get the word out about the point in time count, and I'll put the link in the chat window shortly. And then we've talked about this on several of these calls, but I know we have a few new faces. So just to note that we do have warming shelters that open during these kind of rainy, colder months. If the day meets the criteria listed here about temperature or the chance of rain. So I encourage you all to save this hotline number. You can also join the mailing list by emailing fwc@goodsamaritanshelter.org, so that you can know if the warming centers are open on any given night. Um, so yeah, just another good resource and a way to direct people during the bad weather days. Right. So I want to thank you all again for being here. This is our quarterly presentation from PATH for their conditional use permit, just about PATH activities. We will still have time at the end for community concerns and questions as well, but we want to give PATH some time for this. And really the purpose of these meetings is so that we can talk about what is being done in the Eastside community and then troubleshoot issues together. So we're really here to try and problem solve. So we appreciate keeping the conversation as productive as we can. So with that, I'll kick it over to Liz from Path to start us off.
Morning. Let me just find all the right buttons. Okay, it's just switching to Zoom. Okay. Can you see the PowerPoint? Cool. Excuse me. I'm Liz Adams. I'm the regional director here at PATH Santa Barbara, and we have a few other team members who will be presenting with me. Herschel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Morning. I'm Herschel, and I'm the Director of Programs here at PATH.
And Oscar.
Buenos dias, good morning. My name is Oscar, and I am Associate Director of Housing Programs at PATH.
Thank you. So for those of you who don't know, at PATH, we operate a street outreach program, interim housing program, rapid rehousing program, and permanent supportive housing programs. And we also have a conditional use permit to operate here on Cacique. I didn't plan ahead appropriately. So we have last year's numbers because our database is down to pull reports up until Monday. So I didn't realize it until we were preparing this presentation, like, oh shoot, we can't provide updated numbers. So we have our numbers from last year just so you can kind of see all of what we do here out of this facility. Our outreach program served 81 people last year, with more than 40% of those people having positive housing exits. So exiting from the street into either interim housing, substance abuse, transitional housing, reunifying with family members, or moving into permanent housing. Our interim housing program that's here is our largest program, serving over 326 people last year, serving 326 people last year. And also just kind of wanted to share some of the demographics so that you can see the level of need of of the people we serve. So a lot of people who we serve have experienced homelessness chronically, so more than a year. More than half of the people we serve have mental health disorders, multiple chronic health conditions. And then we also serve people through rapid rehousing and our permanent supportive housing programs. A little bit of the history of our conditional use permit. In 1999, the Planning Commission approved the original conditional use permit for the homeless shelter. It was then Casa Esperanza, had these 2 phases, and then throughout the years there have been many amendments to it ongoing. Every 2 years, we make a presentation to the Planning Commission reporting on our compliance with the conditional use permit. And then every other week, we come to these meetings and provide updates on what we're doing. And then we do this full presentation every other month. The conditions that we report on, I laid out so you can just have an understanding of what's included in our conditional use permit, as well as the status of each of the items that we're required to comply with for the conditions that we have to meet. Water flow, RV, so you can see like we met that upon completion of the construction. RV storage, we do not permit parking or storage RVs either here on site in our parking lot or in our overflow parking lot. Our landscaping condition was met upon completion of construction. Water rights recorded. Staffing, max of 18 staff and volunteers, and then through amendments, there's we now have staffing up to 30. Things have changed quite a bit since it was Casa Esperanza, so some of the conditions of the conditional use permit have changed along with that. So like the noontime meals that you see, one of these conditions, we can only serve up to 200 lunches daily. That's when Casa Esperanza was providing like a drop-in day center, so more people were coming on site throughout the day. PATH only serves the people who are enrolled in our interim housing program. So the number of people we serve now for lunch is closer to like 20. So we don't have those big influxes of people coming in for lunch service anymore. Winter emergency shelter, we provide or is required December 1st to March 31st. We actually open it this year. We opened it up earlier because we had rain actually in November, and then we can increase the number of beds we serve through that. Transitional shelter that we operate every day, that's up to 100 beds. Right now we're operating 74 beds, so we're not at that max right now. Detox, we no longer have a detox program on site. Bike parking we have behind our building and in our enclosed patio on site here. Increases to meet critical need, we have a contract actually with the city of Santa Barbara that includes the ability of the police department to refer people onto beds. So we have seven beds here that are reserved for the city of Santa Barbara, and bring people into those beds from various referral sources, including the police department. Lighting and tree protection, both conditions met upon completion of construction. Transportation, we have bus passes, bus tokens available for people who participate in our programs. We have the bus routes posted here on site. We also work with people for ride sharing, and when we help people figure out and learn how to ride the bus and take public transportation as well. Neighborhood communication occurs partially through these meetings. SB Act kind of became the conduit of facilitating those conversations, because the original program that was set up just wasn't that effective. So we kind of transitioned into this, that we participate in these ongoing conversations. Neighborhood outreach, we conduct ongoing. Daily, we have our outreach team out there walking around. We added our outreach case manager position in July 2021. Still working to permanently fill that position, but we do have two staff right now operating as our outreach team. And then we just welcomed Oscar to the team too, who oversees the outreach program. So he's been supporting them out there on the street doing that neighborhood outreach and neighborhood communication as well. We also, our leadership team goes out and does outreach as well to businesses that are in our little zone over here to see what's going on with them, how can we better support. We also conduct neighborhood watch by walking around through the neighborhood every day, providing cleanup. We started doing power washing on the sidewalk in front as well. And we do monthly community cleanups where volunteers come out and support and clean up of the neighborhood as well. Maintenance is a requirement, is one of the conditions. We keep the property properly maintained. And then we have to report to the Planning Commission, which I already mentioned. We report every 2 years on updates and our compliance with the conditional use permit. Some additional components that I wanted you to see. I kind of talked about this a little bit with the SB Act as now the stand-in facilitating kind of the neighborhood meetings. We're also working closely with Landon in the coordination of the in-person meeting that'll take place in February. We're really excited about it, and we're required to work under the Eastside Regional Action Plan to have at least one of us attend the meetings. I do my best to make it to all of them, but as you can see here, we also have a team of us who we all really try to participate in these conversations because we think it's important. The more of us who know and hear what's going on in our community, the more of us who can build relationships with our neighboring businesses, the better. So we like to all participate. We, when we go out with our leadership team, we distribute flyers that promote this meeting. We've also started a log of gathering email addresses as we have been going out and having those conversations as well, so that we can also make sure they're receiving the emails and the links to participate in these meetings. We give these presentations as well as participate in the meetings. As you can see, number 4, I also mentioned that earlier, reporting back and then presenting recommended steps moving forward. And so you can see here the recommendation of that continued partnership with SB Act. Any questions about like the conditional use permit itself or any of the conditions that we just walked through before we move into all the other things, that all the other programs and things that are happening here?
Liz, I just want to clarify for folks that when you state that you're in compliance, that's past stating that you're in compliance with the CUP. Is that correct? And then you go to Planning Commission every 2 years.
That's the Planning Commission stating.
Okay, for that review,
that
was
reporting is from the last report to the
2 years ago. Okay,
stating that we're in compliance with everything. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I see a hand up.
Yes, I do have a question. I had a couple of others, but I forgot what they were. But anyway, my one question is, so PATH is still taking in families with children?
In our interim housing program, it's just single adults. We do serve families through our rapid rehousing and our permanent supportive housing programs, but interim housing here is just individuals over the age of 18. Okay.
Hi, Liz, it's Susie, really quick. And what is the term that, are you going into your second year of this CUP?
Yeah, so next we have this year, and then next year is our reporting year. Sorry, you muted.
So 2025 is the reporting year, or 2026?
2026.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we also on site here have our grocery rescue program where we go out and rescue food that would otherwise go to waste. And we distribute that food on site here to our program participants. We use it in our kitchen, and then we also redistribute out into the community. So partner organizations can come and pick up food from us and distribute it to people they serve as well. We accept over 10,000 pounds of food each month, and then we redistribute nearly half of that to community partners. So it's a lot of food not being wasted. And that every year that comes out to about $2 million in food donations that are being used here, as well as going out into the community. A lot of our kitchen support. Oh, and I want to take a moment, Terrence, if you want to wave and introduce yourself. We just welcomed a new sous chef to our program. We're super excited. Terrence just joined the team and will be overseeing all of the cool stuff that goes on with our grocery rescue.
Hi, everybody. My name is Terrence Jackson. Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you. Volunteers are a huge support of ours. We've had well over 100 volunteers this year, 1,500 hours. They help with community cleanups, donation sorting, kitchen support. They also come on site and provide classes and workshops. We have resume workshops, budgeting workshops, so many things, special events. We actually have holiday celebration meals and gift distribution coming up this coming Monday. They also support with donation drives. Oscar, take it away.
Happy Friday. I will be presenting on the outreach. So based on our numbers from last year, we serviced 81 clients that were unhoused and outreach, 35 positive housing exits, either to permanent housing or interim housing, skilled nursing facilities, inpatient substance abuse treatment. We continue to staff at the rescue mission on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock for access point. We still engage with people on Casica and Milpost Coordinator Monday through Friday with our outreach. We also want to give a thank you to the Bay Yao Co Foundation for donating the outreach van. We're still currently recruiting for a permanent full-time outreach worker. We did partner with AmeriCorps, and we do have an outreach worker as well as somebody that's filling in within PATH, as well as myself. And then I will give it to Herschel for the next slide.
Good morning, everyone. So the interim housing information might also not be updated based on the HMIS shutdown till next week, but in 2023-24, we served 326 people, and of which 31 moved into permanent housing situations. We had 318 beds provided during inclement weather, and we have already started with these last few days. Last week of rainy weather had our rain beds opened up here at PATH. The facility improvements contributes to the wellness, I think, of the facility and people. And so painting and lighting has been finalized, and we're still working with a volunteer and a provider of resources for our rooftop garden, which we're excited and looking forward to as another place of rest, relaxation, and wellness. Liz, can you go to the next slide?
Good. So we're really excited about this partnership that we created with SPCC. So we partnered with SPCC and we created a Pathways Home, which HOME stands for Housing Opportunities Through Mentoring and Education. The population that we're serving is unhoused or at-risk students. Part of the program is that we're going to be servicing 22 students. What I like about this program is that they're going to have their own advisor through the school that's going to be helping them with the education part. And then PATH will be helping out with the case management, the housing navigation, as well as connecting them with other resources. One of the things that I wanted to share is we had a single mother that was unhoused student that we were able to help her get a place. And then eventually we will have her be on self-pay. Also, we have somebody in interim housing that starting next week will be housed. And that individual was super excited and was ready for the next step in her path. So that's a little bit about the rapid rehousing through SPCC. The other one is permanent supportive housing. Some of the qualifications is that you have to be homeless for more than a year, multiple HUD qualifying disabilities. Some of the services that we provide with is housing navigation, security deposit, long-term rental assistance, extensive case management, as well as providing them with other services. We currently have 47 individuals and families stable in their home throughout scattered sites, as well as a 94 retention rate. One of the things is from me introducing myself to the participants, they're really thankful for PATH being able to support them, as well as getting them connected with services.
Before we go, Liz, maybe just before we go into the closing, I want to say the CalAIM, we've just launched CalAIM, and most of our guests or participants have been enrolled in the program, and we already see the benefits of that, giving people more hope and opportunities, working with providers, and also working just through the program. We had 5 people housed already, and it does open up opportunity to bring people from the street into interim housing as we are able to add new beds or additional beds in the shelter. So we're excited about that possibility and the medical transformation to make healthcare more equitable, people-centered, and coordinated. Yeah, it's a new energy and incentive for people to get housed and to feel that there's hope, because it does provide that once in a lifetime housing deposit, first and last month rent. And yeah, so it gives just that little bit of hope. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you. And for those of you who don't know what CalAIM is, it's a program that's it's a program with many programs within it that is provided through health insurance. And so health insurance, part of the benefits, provides all of these services that Herschel was just mentioning. So we're able to support people if they don't have insurance. We always support them in getting connected to insurance. And then now we also are CalAIM providers through their insurance. So we can also help them get connected to these various community supports, like the housing deposits, the housing navigation, as well as sustaining services that provide case management in their home to help them retain their housing and learn the skills necessary to really be successful in housing, are all supports that are provided through insurance that we're able to provide through their insurance. So that's what Herschel was talking about with that CalAIM, and it's been really exciting, and we're excited to just continue growing and expanding our CalAIM program over the coming year as well. With that, I wanted to open up for questions. I also put in the chat, I misspoke earlier, and our next CUP presentation is actually will be this coming year. So it's in 2025, and notices will go out as they always do before those presentations. So you'll all be invited to speak at the presentation, as well as provide written comments for that. And then if anybody has any additional questions, we would love to answer them. I'll also, well, I'll see if I can put it in the chat. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I want to make sure everybody has access to our community resources flyer, so that you have our outreach email address as well as phone number. We're always here to be supportive. So if you ever see somebody experiencing homelessness who you think needs help, please reach out to us, call or email, and we will either provide the support ourselves or find the appropriate person to provide that support. So I'll put that flyer in the chat. I see a hand up. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Just one more question. Does Easy Lift still provide services for the FAP residents to take them to the county clinics?
They do, yes.
Okay. That was my other question. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you at the Milpas Holiday Parade on Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you to our PATH team. So with that, let's go ahead and open it up just for any community members to share concerns or questions related to homelessness in the Eastside neighborhood. Anything from the community?
Hi, this is Susie. First of all, just want to acknowledge everyone for their good work this year. I've noticed over the last month tremendous improvement on Cazique. So I know I've said it before, it takes a village. You are all very appreciated. I know at times it can get frustrating. We keep at something and we don't see progress, but over the last month we have seen progress. So I just wanted to make sure that you feel recognized and supported by us. It does take a partnership and a village. So, we do see some of those campers and so forth still, around, especially near the C&D yard. So just want to make sure that we're staying focused on those. And maybe Barbara, I know you were working on maybe some parking restrictions or something like that. So if you have an update, that'd be great too. Thank you.
We are, sorry, go ahead, Rich.
No, I was just going to say, I just a question mostly out of curiosity. We've had a number of additional RVs parking along Ninos. And I was just curious if these are people that are kind of new to the community, or if this is kind of a trend of people in RVs kind of moving to different locations over time.
Yeah, so we have quite a bit of movement among our vehicular homeless population because we are concentrating on priority regions. So there's a constant kind of in motion. As you know, the city experienced our largest increase of unhoused folks that are vehicular homeless, so over 100 people more than the prior year. And we have new available resources to us. So we received a $2 million grant for this year and next year to address vehicular encampments through the state of California. And so New Beginnings has done incredible work in a very short period of time, but just in the city of Santa Barbara, they've enrolled 67 individuals, which equals 46 vehicles in this program. And so resources follow them wherever they may go. And they've housed 22 individuals, 12 of which are just from the Eastside. And so that's just been since July when the program started and launched. So I know it feels like something that is not necessarily improving, but they are making traction. And so we are seeing movement among Dwight Murphy, South Quarantina, Kaya Cesar Chavez, and then the De La Guerra junior high. Like all of those three neighborhoods, folks just keep kind of circulating based on one, enforcement efforts that PD is facilitating, parking enforcement efforts if people are unlawfully parked, and that oversized recreational vehicles are not lawful in the city of Santa Barbara. But our ordinance has changed. It changed almost a year ago. That requires us to do and facilitate warnings first and foremost, share information about the New Beginnings program. And if that vehicle moves within 1,000 linear feet after that warning, we initiate warnings over again. So we're actually working with PD and New Beginnings to determine, who's still continuing to park unlawfully in the city, how many times we've engaged them among our outreach teams, and if we're seeing results because of that. And we are seeing a number of those who live in recreational vehicles that are resistant to the program and to services. So we really, again, are trying to understand how we can meet people where they are. New Beginnings is working diligently to identify safe parking program spaces that will allow RVs to park at it. But even if we are to facilitate that to success, some of these folks still will not, embrace those services. So PD, again, we'll continue to prioritize the area when it comes to enforcement. Our code enforcement team, as Andrew will share, absolutely has been prioritizing that region when it deals with unattended personal belongings, any dumping of hazardous waste. And I will say, in general, we are looking to change the priority regions of this statewide grant to include South Quarantina specifically. We have had some flexibility if folks have been in other areas and they've landed there, that we can still enroll them, but we just want to make sure that no matter who is in that area at any given time, we're able to do that. I also want to say to this group, because Rich, you brought it up with Dwight Murphy. Dwight Murphy is going to be undergoing renovations. And so that entire area will be cordoned off, we think early March. And that will displace a number of vehicles that reside, I will say reside, because they've been there for a long time in that area. So one, we're trying to enroll people in the program to get them the services that they need. Two, we're going to see, again, a lot of movement in the coming months as we let people know that deadline is coming. So, and Rich, it's a combination. 31% of the individuals that are living in their vehicles, New Beginnings is finding, has zero income. A lot of that is because they're undocumented. So they come into the area for work, don't necessarily have the proper visas. And we're also finding that individuals rent out these vehicles for folks who are undocumented. So we're also trying to kind of get to the source of how this is being facilitated so we can help people. And New Beginnings has just recently hired an outreach worker that's specific to undocumented individuals to help them through that document readiness process and get them access to the services that they need. So Herschel mentioning CalAIM. CalAIM is available to undocumented individuals, and we need to educate folks that those resources are available to them and that they can receive housing, even as an undocumented person in California. So we're, again, just pleased that New Beginnings has been able to kind of tailor their program and their work as it relates to the folks that we're seeing out there. So appreciate your patience. There's been some rough challenges on South Quarantina. And so just appreciate the collaboration with PD, our outreach teams, New Beginnings being there. And then with the inclement weather, we're seeing a lot of movement as well. So I'll address that in a minute as we hear from others.
A question from Jose.
Yes, Ms. Anderson, I just came up with an idea, and I don't know if this would work or not. What about the Sears parking lot for safe parking? I realize that is private property, but with that, would the city might be able to work something out to have just so many people that are living in their vehicles to use just the Sears parking lot? You know, so many, I don't know, maybe 20, 25, something like that, if that's a possibility.
The owner of the lot is not receptive to the program. So we've reached out to all of the lots that you know to be vacant and underutilized, from the Armory to the Sears parking lot to Warren Shore grounds, which we're not giving up on. And now we just had a meeting this morning with elected leaders across Santa Barbara County, and we're going to be pushing the state to have access to state parking lots that are underutilized, like the DMV. And there's a couple of other areas that you know very well, that we would like to have access to, just because the safe parking program is really recognized to be, one, positively impactful to folks who are enrolled. Two, it does not have the neighborhood impacts that we see among unhoused or unsheltered homeless in neighborhoods. And the lots are monitored. There's access to security. There's often portable restrooms. It's just set up in a way that is really all around positive. And so we're going to be advocating through Monique Lamone's office and Greg Hart's office to the state to have access to lots that, again, we know that are underutilized. But so please know, Jose, and with the help of SB Act, we actually have a very robust spreadsheet of all of these parking lots. We continue to engage with property owners, lot owners, faith-based organizations, and just recently a new church has come on with 6 additional safe parking program spaces in the city of Santa Barbara. They're just not available to RVs. So we are getting traction. It's just not necessarily for the folks that, again, are the most, I would say, impactful in our city, just because it's unlawful to be in a recreational vehicle.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking the question.
I'll just add to that we welcome anyone. If you do have suggestions of lots, please still feel free to send them, especially privately owned lots. We've reached out to a lot of the really obvious ones, but there may be some that we're just not aware of. So I'm going to put my email in the chat window so that if you have suggestions, do that there. I don't want to use too much meeting time doing that, because we could just list parking lots for the rest of the meeting. But please do feel free to reach out. Go ahead, Olivia.
Oh yeah, I just had a quick question. So to refer somebody to these various New Beginnings programs, would we just email Emily Allen to make that referral, or
no? I'll give you the team lead. It's Cassie Roach is the leader of the team, and then there's specific outreach workers under that. So Olivia, I'll share all of the contacts that we have, so that you can make those referrals directly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Other questions or concerns from the community?
Landon, I wanted to bring up a couple of reports. We've received, increasing reports of folks under the underpasses, and obviously we see that movement with inclement weather. I do appreciate that people are keeping the Christmas lights intact. So that was another thing that we were trying to prioritize this season, because the underpass is lit up for the first time ever. So that seems to be going well. But code enforcement and PD and outreach go through the underpasses regularly, and we really try to keep that clear. There's some congregation of folks over the weekend because they know, we have less capacity at that time, but we really try to prioritize that first thing Monday morning, but almost daily. But Andrew, do you want to speak to, the folks that have been, frequenting there is a level of voluntary compliance, and we can kind of move them along, but then, someone else will kind of come in and settle in. So we keep attention on the area as much as possible.
Yeah, it's kind of a challenge. A lot of people are just seeking sort of temporary shelter. Some rain moves in, or some of these windy afternoons we've been having. It creates that blockage for them, and kind of a temporary safe haven. From our perspective in code enforcement, it's a bit of a challenge because they are generally mobile. Their belongings are are packed up neatly. So we're not seeing that excessive waste or any sort of like permanent encampments or the like being established. But that being said, it's definitely something where we don't want it to start to become like seeming like it's greenlit to have it be a gathering point or anything like that. So we're keeping a really sort of regular beat on it, continuing just general cleanups to kind of keep up appearances and whatnot, and then just encourage people, you know, it's okay to be here if you're, you know, seeking that shelter from the rain and whatnot, but not to do anything that would you know, really draw attention or establish camps or things like that. So
Thank you. I do see that Liz put in the chat window also the contact information for the Path Outreach team as another resource for especially the Lower East Side, if you see someone that you think might benefit. All right. Why don't we go to our outreach providers just to do some check-ins. I'd love to hear about your recent activity in the Eastside neighborhood. And then if you can also just share if you have any holiday closures coming up, just so everyone knows what those might be. So can we go back to Olivia with the CityNet team?
Yes, good morning. Well, we got somebody from the Eastside House yesterday at El Carrillo, so that was very exciting.
Yay.
Yay. Aside from that, let me see. Kasika's still been pretty clear. There's a couple people that we've continued to engage with in that area. I know that Alondra did the underpasses yesterday, and she said she actually didn't see that many people. I think she spoke to 3 people. And we're continuing to do our outreach in the area. One thing that's coming up is, I guess at Pershing Park, there's been some complaints from the school about all the people camping around the bathroom right there. So we've been kind of concentrating some outreach in that area. One of the rangers let me know that they're going to start posting that area. And yeah, I think that's about it from us.
Thank you. And then any holiday closures?
Sorry, what you mean, like the contract ending?
No, just who like will CityNet be doing outreach on your normal times during like the week of Christmas and New Year's?
We should be, yeah. I think Christmas Day, I don't think anyone will be doing outreach, but aside from that, we'll be here.
Thank you. And let's go back to the Path team.
I'll speak on behalf of our AmeriCorps person. So we've been engaging with clients on house people with our area. We've been taking notes down, and then once HMIS gets back next week, we're going to see if they're in the system and trying to get them engaged. But we've been engaging them in the area that we are supposed to check.
Thank you. And then I see
You don't
Liz
know what closures are.
Yeah.
We're always here, always serving.
And do you want to talk about the inclement weather beds as well?
Yeah, so we have inclement weather beds. If there's rain, we definitely have beds open. If there's extremely low temperatures, or like there have been times of extreme wind and low temperatures, that we've opened them as well. So if you have any question of whether or not we have beds open because of the weather, you can reach out to the access email address or that phone number, or Herschel and I and Oscar are always available to reach out to us just to learn if we have beds available.
Thank you. Olivia, did you have a question?
Oh yeah, Liz, can you remind me, when you do have the inclement weather beds, what time do y'all like open the doors for people to come in?
Yeah, if we know if it's gonna rain that night, then we let people in at 4 so they can come in and participate in dinner and things like that. But then like if it's raining during the day and it's gonna continue into the night, like say it starts raining at 7 a.m., like we'll open our doors at 7 a.m. that people can come in, spend the day inside, have, enjoy the meals, stay for the night. And then if the rain continues, they can stay if the rain continues as well.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Let's go to Andrew with the code enforcement team.
Thanks, Landon. Yeah, as Barbara mentioned, in regards to the RVs, from a code enforcement perspective, we are monitoring that illegal dumping, accumulation of waste, anything around those. We just want to kind of take the edge off the effects of those vehicles and the waste that can sometimes come with them. Aside from that, for the east side, a lot of our actions along Cacique, we have that new signage. We're doing regular cleanups of the area on just a reoccurring basis, Wednesdays, Fridays. That's really created a strong presence for us, and really kept up the cleanliness in my opinion, for what we've seen. Otherwise, along the east side, we continue to deal with things on again just a case by case basis. But we haven't really noticed anything that's been, particularly troubling. Like I said, the underpasses kind of hit their seasonal stride here, and that's something that we pay closer attention to and monitor. But overall, it's we feel like things are in decent shape out there.
Thanks, Andrew. And then how will holidays affect your hours?
Oh, right. Sorry. I remember
You're
this
good.
from yesterday. Um, yeah, we again, the best reporting tool for code enforcement staff is SB Connect. Those requests will be monitored over the holidays, and so we will have code enforcement staff available to respond. Essentially, we don't have an exact scheduling setup, but again, SB Connect, it's a great tool that we can use. It generally, those requests, as in regards to things that code enforcement is dealing with, will either hit Barbara, myself, another member of my team, or something like that. We're able to create a really good network to get the appropriate response, whether we need PD, whatever is needed. SB Connect will be a great tool over the holidays. So,
Thank you. And can we go to Sergeant Beltran?
Yeah, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'd probably just be repeating the same things that Andrew and Barbara have kind of said. Is obviously, in my opinion, I think Cacique has been looking a little bit like there's been progress there. It's been looking better. I'm not there daily like my team is, but I do make my way down there. I feel like it's looking better. But definitely the RVs and the campers, it's just a significant challenge for us. But we do, that is a priority for us. We're down there regularly. We monitor it, but we do have other places to be in the city and other things to monitor. So we try to get down there as much as we can, but it's definitely something that we're working with, or working on regularly. But other than that, I mean, I don't think I really have any other updates for that particular area.
Thank you.
And Landon, I want to let everyone know that Liz Stotts is going to be on medical leave and until January 13th. So please, if anyone has any concerns, issues, questions, please direct them to me, and I'll be able to handle and respond during the closure.
Thank you. I did put the link in the chat window again for those who joined the meeting late. We're trying to find a time to meet in person as an Eastside Rep in February. So we just want to get your input on the date and time that we choose to do that. So if you haven't yet, take 2 minutes to fill that out. That would be great. Are there any other just general announcements or final questions or comments? Well, at this time, I'll ask our community members to step off and our service providers to just stick around for maybe 2 more minutes. But I just want to say happy holidays. Really, really grateful to you all for being here and for helping work out all these issues with us. It really requires all of us, all of our eyes and ears and participation. So just feel very grateful for you. So happy
Thank you
holidays,
so
everybody.
much. I want to say ditto to that. Happy holidays, everyone.